Most people spend months preparing for SDET and QA interview but still fail that interview. Has this happened to you? That you have so many resources to choose from and so many things to study and you are so confused and overwhelmed that where should I start and what should I actually study? That's because there's a hidden pattern to prepare for that SDET interview which I'm going to share in this video. In this video, I'm going to share a 4-step framework which will help you to land a high-paying SDET job, and eventually in just 4 months it will build your confidence so much that you can crack any product-based company and become a QA and SDET and get a job of your dream. Along with the framework, I'm going to share 3 very major problems that is faced by every candidate during their interview preparation phase. These are the problems that I have also faced and I don't want you face. I'll give you the solution for that. How do you actually deal with them, right? The first problem which starts with that, sir, what do I actually study? What topics do I need to study for an SDET interview? And what technologies do I need to study? And how do I study? From where do I study? What are the genuine resources that will actually give me those questions which will help me to get the job? Second problem start when you have studied everything but you still self-doubt your capabilities and you still self-doubt that, sir, if I am ready or not to give the interview. So I will give you a proper technique on how to evaluate yourself if you are ready for a certain interview or not. Alright, don't worry, let's deal it together. And the third problem which is very common, that after you have started, if you are a beginner in coding and if you are a beginner to programming and let's say you have started your coding journey, after 15-20 days you start feeling overwhelmed that, oh no, the coding is not for me, and you started having some self-doubt that I'm not able to do the coding. Don't worry, it's very natural and it's very simple. Everyone has dealt with it. Everyone has came across this. There's a proper technique on how to deal with them. I will share them all in this video. So if you can solve these 3 problems one by one with the help of framework that I'm going to give you, I give you my words that you will be landing a high-paying QA job in just 4 months. Alright, you just need to follow the steps and stick to the video. Before starting the framework, I will recommend you that please take out a pen and a paper so that you can have a note of it, that what we are going to learn and how it is actually, you can even revise it later. There are 4 stages of this framework. Stage number 1. The foundation phase, which eventually lasts for 30 days. Stage number 2, the testing phase, which lasts for 15 days. Stage number 3, the automation phase, which is for 60 days. And the stage number 4, which is the DevOps phase, which is for 15 days again. So if you total it, it's 30 plus 15, 45 and 60 and plus 15, which is equal to 120 days. So in just 120 days, you can be an expert from right now. Let's begin with our phase 1, which is the foundation phase. Naturally, if you want to crack interviews or if you want to become a QA, Selenium and automation, everything is just secondary. The primary thing is that you need to get comfortable with coding and Java, because Java is the base for everything. If you are learning Selenium, if you are learning Rest Assured, or if you are going into the IT industry, Java is the base of everything. If you learn Java, trust me, you can conquer everything. So the phase 1 basically focuses on Java itself, which is for 30 days. In this phase, you will build deep comfort with Java, not just syntax. By the end, you should be able to think in terms of code, explain why things work, and confidently solve Java problems. And what should be the outcome of this phase? That is, after 30 days, how do you actually evaluate that you are good and confident with Java? So the outcome, what is coming in your screen, just take a note of it, and after 30 days, just ponder over this point that if you are able to achieve these points or not. So these are the outcomes. Number 1, you should have a strong grip on core Java and OOPS concept. Number 2, you are able to create small projects in Java like banking system, student management system, and a file reader. and point number 3, that you can eventually start solving easy level DSA problems. So if you can achieve these 3 points after 30 days, that means you are confident with Java. I will also tell you how do you solve the problems, how do you solve the Java problems, and where do you actually solve the Java problems. But before that, let us just have a look into the topics and week-wise distribution on how do you study them. So the topics to cover are, in week 1, you have to study the Java basics. So under Java basics, what do you need to study? You need to study JVM, JDK, JRE. You need to study the data types, variables and operators. You need to study input-output in Java. And you need to study flow control, which is if statement, switch and loops. In week 2, you need to study the OOPS concept. Under OOPS concept, these are the topics that you need to cover: classes and objects, constructors, inheritance, polymorphism, abstraction, encapsulation. Alright, and after you have covered all of this topic, you need to design a simple bank account system using Java. So it is a very simple and very entry level project which you can do after covering week 1 and week 2, which will give you strength that you can learn Java. Now comes the week 3, where you need to study the core Java utilities. This is the most important part, and now you are slowly becoming a pro. Here you need to study strings, why it is immutable, what are string builders and what are string buffer. You need to study arrays. You need to study collection framework. You need to study exception handling. And you need to build a student management system using collections. So this is the second project that you need to build. First project was in week 2 and second project is in week 3. In week 4, you need to learn Java and testing. So how Java is actually utilized in testing, that you need to become familiar with. Under this, you need to understand how Java is used in testing, understand the meaning of static and non-static framework, understand the stack memory and heap memory in Java, and at the end, now you have to build a final Java project, which is the library management system in Java. So eventually, by the end of 30 days, by the end of phase 1, you will be building 3 projects. The first project is in week 2, second project is in week 3, and the third project is in week 4. And after you have built all of these 3 projects, you are able to say that, okay, I am ready for the interview and now I can crack any interview of Java. So this gives confidence in Java. What resources you need to use are here on your screen. You can either refer to a Udemy course. It is a very good Udemy course which I have also learned from when I was in college, which is from Team Buchalka. It's a 100-hour Java course. If you want, you can just purchase this for $4.99 and you can just start studying from it. But if you don't want to spend this 500 rupees as well, you can just hop on to YouTube, and in YouTube you will see a Java course which is from Telesco Learning. This is also a very good course that you can refer to and start learning. And if you just trust me, you can just hop onto my YouTube channel. In my channel, I have posted the complete Java tutorials. Just go through it and you will be an expert. If you have any doubt, you can still reach out to me. In no time, I will answer to all of your questions. So now let's move on to phase 2. Actually, you know what? Most testers fail in interview not because they just don't know Selenium or they don't know automation or they don't know Java. It's just because they don't know the very simple things and very simple strategies of testing. So in this phase, you actually need to understand what testing is. How do you actually strategize your testing, your test cases, bug lifecycle, the SDLC, and every other core concepts related to testing. The goal is to build strong testing knowledge plus fundamentals that interviewers expect every SDET to know. Learn the why behind the testing and not just the tools. Learn Postman and start with DSA. So alright, so in all of this, in 4 points, I actually want you to focus on point number 4 first, that is start learning DSA. This is where you start getting comfortable with coding. So now what we have done, we have already learned Java, and now we are in a very good situation that we can actually start solving easy level DSA problems. So from now on, in the next 3 months, we have out of 4, we have actually utilized 1 month. But from now on, in the next 3 months, that is the 90 days, you have to solve one DSA question every day. It is, DSA is like maths. Just like when you were a kid and you started studying math, and probably you start solving problems. And let's say you are solving problem for 30 days straight, and then you don't solve problems for, let's say, 1 week. So every hard work what you have done in that 30 days, it will be gone if you don't solve for that 1 week. So in math, basically the consistency matters, the practice matters, alright? You cannot give a break. Similarly in DSA, the DSA works the same. It is a logic building exercise that you have to do it continuously until you get a job. And actually I recommend you to do it after a job as well, but the fundamental thing is you need to do it until you get a job. Every day one question, so that you get comfortable in coding, alright? So what are the outcomes of this phase 2? That means how will you actually evaluate yourself, that if you are good with phase 2 or not, that if you are confident with phase 2 or not. The points which you need to ponder over after 15 days are: you can speak confidently about testing fundamentals in an interview. You will have hands-on Postman experience. You will be comfortable with Agile methodology. And you will have to start building consistency with DSA problems. This is the point which you need to focus. And apart from this, the first 3 points are also important, where you learn the testing concepts. Now, without wasting time, let me show you what are the topics that you need to cover in this phase. In week 1, which is the testing theory and processes, you need to learn software development lifecycle versus software testing lifecycle. You need to learn test plan, test case, and test strategy. You need to learn the bug or the defect lifecycle. You need to learn what are the types of testing, that is regression testing, smoke testing, and what are the other types of it. You need to learn the black box versus the white box testing. You need to learn the Agile methodology. Agile methodology is a very important point, because you know what? Companies just don't need someone who can just automate or code. Company needs someone who actually knows the process on how software development and how a software is created, how a sprint works, how Jira works, and what are your roles and responsibilities. You need to be very accurate and very precise with all of them. That's why learning Agile methodology is very important. And after this, you can just create a sample test case plus bug report for an automation exercise website. Eventually you can take any website like Myntra or Flipkart, and you can start creating test cases for this website, which will help you to understand the life cycle of software testing. In week 2, you need to learn tools and practical testing. Alright, you need to create a testing mindset, learn how to think like a tester. You need to learn Postman, and you need to do a Postman project. Postman is very important for API testing, so that's why you need to learn Postman. Once you have learned Postman, you will be ahead of 80% of the testers. With this, we have concluded phase 2. Let me know in the comment section if you are still in this video and if you are still following me up and taking up the notes. Okay? Without wasting time, let's go to phase 3 and let me talk about phase 3. So phase 3 is the exact phase where most of the testers and most of the automation engineers fail, because this is the most crucial and most complex phase. Here you need to actually learn the Selenium, rest assured, and JMeter if possible. Most testers actually stop just watching videos of Selenium framework and just watching videos of rest assured, but they actually never build a framework of their own. Here's what makes the difference. In this next 60 days, I will give you the exact plan on how do you actually build framework and how do you actually build projects on GitHub, which will separate you from other testers who are not building the projects. So if you are serious becoming an QA, this is the phase where you actually push your limits. Let's talk about the goals. Transition from learning to doing. Building end-to-end automation projects. Have a portfolio of framework plus projects to showcase. And now let's talk about outcomes. That is, how do you evaluate yourself, that if you are ready for Selenium interviews or not. Actually, after 60 days, how will you see that you have learned Selenium or not? So these are the things, these are the points which you need to ponder over. Master in Selenium, strong in API testing, framework building skills, and a portfolio of real projects. So if you have these 4 things checked in your checklist, it means you are now becoming a pro after 60 days, right? Now let me share you the exact plan week-wise. How do you actually build it? In the first week and the second week, that is week 1 and 2, which is only meant for Selenium deep dive. You need to learn the Selenium basics. You need to learn automating very small websites, and you need to learn common interview questions around Selenium in this phase. The next 2 weeks, which is week 3 and week 4, you need to learn the basics of API testing. Although you have already learned this in Postman previously, you need to learn automating API with REST assured. You need to learn error handling and framework. And then in week 5, you need to actually start building framework, a complex framework. Alright, here you will learn about Maven project setup. You will learn about TestNG or JUnit. You will learn about POM. And you will have to build projects actually in week 5, right? Now comes the week 6 and week 8, the last 2 weeks where you become the actual giant in QA. Here you build projects, build real life projects, automate websites like Myntra, Flipkart, take any random website of your choice from the global internet and just automate it. Next, you need to do API plus DB validations, and at the end, just learn GitHub a little bit on how do you actually push your code, how do you fetch the code, and the basics of GitHub. And now this is where you have become a very pro in QA, and now you are 80% better from where you have started. Now you can actually know Selenium, REST assured, Postman, and other testing basics. So you have mostly covered 80-85% of overall interview preparation. And here comes the final phase, which is the phase 4. In this phase, you will learn the basic DevOps skill of CI/CD pipeline, Jenkins, and GitHub. Companies just don't need someone who can automate. They need someone who can actually build CI/CD pipelines and actually know how to manage them, so that it gives them a better view of the entire software development. What are the goals that you need to achieve in this phase? Are become industry ready, speak confidently about CI/CD. And what are the outcomes? That is, how will you judge yourself if you are ready for this phase or not? That at the end of 15 days, these are the points that you need to ponder over. You will be able to explain CI/CD pipeline, you will be able to run automation test, and you understand the environments. So to achieve this, I will share you the exact plans, the week 1 and week 2 plan on how to study and from where to study. In week 1, you need to study CI/CD basics, you need to study GitHub, and in week 2, you need to study the environment and deployment awareness. Basically, you need to understand staging, QA, UAT, and prod environment. You need to study the test data strategy on how to build an actual test data and how to achieve it. The ideal way of studying the DevOps is you can just go to ChatGPT, and whatever topics that I have shown you, just Google them or just ChatGPT them and they will give you the answer. Just study those articles and you are good to go. But for Selenium, you need to study a full-fledged course. For Selenium, you can refer to my videos where I have uploaded Selenium full courses. I have also built a complete framework using Selenium. Just refer to that and you will be an expert in no time. So this was all about the 4-step framework. I hope you have understood. If you still have any doubt, please feel free to reach out to me. I have shared my social media credentials in the description. You can also comment on this video wherever you have any doubt, and I reply to all of them. If required, please watch the video again, because this is the exact framework which has helped me and which has helped other SDET and QA in the industry to get a high paying job. Just small request that if you have liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and you can subscribe to my channel, because in my channel I post daily content for Java, and Selenium and everything related to interviews. So this is the place where you need to be to crack your interviews. And if you want me to create more videos like this, please drop a comment and I will definitely create them. Alright, with this we have completed and came to an end of this video. I hope you have enjoyed. I will see you in the next video with a new topic and a new course. Until then, bye bye, good night, take care.